It's time to take a stand, bringing the truth to a fucked up land. We've had enough of the lies and deceit. We're done for good with the toxicity. All hail thanks, we are the Rabyd Nation. All hail thanks, we are the Rabyd Nation. All hail thanks, we are the Rabyd Nation. We are the Rabyd Nation.
All right, and welcome to the Rabyd Nation. A hearty welcome to all of you, whether you're a tourist, a citizen, a senator, a council. Thank you one and all for coming and being a part of the Rabyd Nation today. And this is the Rabyd Nation's, maybe the Rabyd Atheist Fireside Chat. It's an open forum kind of thing, although I still ask my moderators to get rid of people that are just being repetitive or annoying or trolls or whatever. Not that there aren't some good trolls out there, but this is just kind of my open forum stream. Some of the rest of them are Thursday Deconversion Hangout, which is very strongly moderated to keep it a safe place for people who want to talk about their deconstruction experiences without being harassed. And then, of course, Saturday I do whatever I want. So there's that. But thanks one and all for stopping by. I just want to let everybody know this is a double stream broadcast thanks to StreamYard. I've got the vertical stream and the horizontal stream. So depending on whether you're on your phone or your computers or all that stuff, there you go. But so there's that aspect of it. I'm testing this out. I want to see how it affects my broadcasts, whether I get a larger audience because of it or what. I just want to see what happens there. I'm not really sure how that works. So, I'm testing it out. StreamYard has added this new feature, and I'm just seeing what it does to my streams. So if you're wondering why you're not being seen in some chat or other, it's because you're either one or the other. So Earl has a, yeah, you can go to the, John, you can go to my channel and you can see both streams. So depending on which one you want to be in. So, and the goal is in the horizontal stream, and that's what I'm talking about. My goals are back, and I can define them again, and I think it's StreamYard, by StreamYard splitting the stream, unless I do the dual thing, I don't have my goals, and so I may have to, I don't have to restart the chat or anything. So it's like, there's chat happening on vertical and there's chat happening on horizontal, and they're not necessarily the same. I see both of them. So yeah, you would, Fred. Me too. But yes, so I'm just trying this out and see how it works. So the goal is in the horizontal stream. It's not in the vertical, although you can still give gifts in the vertical. So, but yeah, figuring out which one is which. And so there's that aspect. All right. But today is kind of open forum. Got a couple of questions in chat, but I also have to deal with the fact that Apologia used me in his video again. That's probably why I'm getting a few people watching. And I'm happy to be a part of that. I've been involved in this fight for a couple months now, a little bit more actively. My largest problem continues to be where's your sources, bro, kind of thing. Citation needed, which is a perfect title for the thumbnail I saw Apologia use. I'm like, yep, that's the issue. So there you go. But so just so you know that I can still see both chats and StreamYard. I just don't know which one's coming from which. So it really depends on whether you're watching on your phone or watching on your computer or have the right stream or not. I think this is kind of confusing to my viewers, but I want to see how confusing it is. So we'll see what happens. All right. The goal in chat is there. That's just my low-key way of asking for money to continue to support my work and my streams and my stuff. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see who's here. We have John, who is here. Blossom, and I'll get to that C.S. Lewis quote in a little bit. Let's see. Who else has joined us? Michael was here talking about that. Rimmer's here. Martin is here. Good to see you, Martin. Cranky is here. Love the Cranky Elder Gods when they show. Stormburn. Yeah, you got into that video too. If you didn't notice, there's some comments. He was highlighting comments, and I could see Stormburn's comments down lower. So Stormburn got into that video too. So there you go. Hey, Amanda, good to see you. We got Eric here. Welcome. I prefer naked. I don't know about that. Hey, Azho, good to see you. My favorite Azho. Bren is here today. This evangelical Christianity. I'll talk. Am I okay? Yeah, I'm great. Good to see you. Jesus for life, I guess. We'll see. Junk Juice Voodoo, IT. There we go. Tux, good to see you. Dragon Rider's here. Man, a lot of you showed up, bot. Okay. That's my blood type. B-neg. Why is that? Is there going to be a threat coming here? Because that'll get you banned in a quick hurry by me. All right. Okay, I got to first deal with Apologia thing. Once again, Apologia used me in one of his videos because I was the guy who finally got some names out of Real Seeker. I was the guy who kept pressing about this whole issue of citing your sources. You know, you say you have this criticism from PhD levels and all that stuff. And I kept pressing that issue because I think it needs to be pressed. It needs to be moved in there and done. My largest problem, is with Habermas has always been, you know, as Paul pointed out in his video, you got this claim of this appears in multiple sources. That's why it's a fact. And it has scholarly consensus. And to my knowledge, Habermas, in his entire time of saying that, has never given us the data on the scholarly consensus, which was the hope for volume 3, but that hope was dashed. And Paul showed a few other people who also had that assumption that were Christians. So, and there was some Christian criticism of Habermas's third volume. Some of the one lady was expressing her disappointment. I was disappointed too. And that's been kind of the drama of this. Real Seeker gave up on me because I stood my ground on that. Like I stood my ground on the idea, a very simple idea. You know, if you're going to say certain people are critical of your work, you should give their names. Okay, that's good scholarship. You want to be transparent. I mean, I don't know if you're getting your transparency ideas from politicians, but you know, that's not a good way to roll. In real scholarship, you give your sources. So, yeah. All right. So, but all right. Blossom brought up the CS quote about tyrannies. I've read this. I wish BS was here. You might have summoned BS Lewis, by the way, by using CS Lewis. It's quite possible. So there's that. But yeah, I just have to point out to people, there's two chats going on. There's one on the vertical and one on the horizontal, and you may not be in the same one. That's the other thing that's confusing about this, is because StreamYard's created a situation where you could be chatting and you're wondering where the other people you normally chat with are while they're in the other stream. You know, they've created a double stream problem that I don't think they anticipated either. So I'm just testing this out to see how it works. Yeah, I've seen it, but it was good. But yes, but the tyranny quote, Blossom, I mean, some of the greatest tyrannies in the world have been religious tyrannies. So I think I agree with you. He shot himself in the foot there. Yeah. He couldn't help but mention me. Yes, I'm a lost cause. Michael, I'm a lost cause because I stuck to my ground. I wanted to know the names. And when he wouldn't give me the names, I said, well, you realize that now people can accuse you of a lot of things, like being dishonest is right up at the top. The reason why scholars cite their sources is to avoid accusations of plagiarism and other types of dishonesty. That's why they do it. Okay. You cite your sources for that very reason. And so when Real Seeker and Habermas don't want to cite their sources, I have to ask why. I think I'm allowed to ask why. You like that one too. You cherry picked that one though, I understand. He got his PhD from Michigan State. It's an embarrassment to me, but I'm not a Michigan State fan, so I'm a Michigan fan. So, I think I pointed out it's 1976 or somewhere in there, 78, somewhere in that area. So it's an old one. I saw a PhD. Yeah, morality. They do it all. You're the senator of Blossomland. Oh, that's fair. We're not at war with Blossomland, are we? I don't know. See you later, Fred. I know you can barely step by. You have to go off to work, but you can watch it later. Does evangelical Christianity have a child baptism? It depends on the evangelical Christianity. Like, you can be an evangelical Christian, Bren. Like, that's what another maddening thing about Habermas is. He wants to make a distinction between evangelicals and non-evangelical Christians. As is dumping one claim of Christian versus non-Christian other. And the problem with evangelical Christianity, whether an evangelical or not, usually depends on how fervent you think evangelical, being an evangelist is. Like, how much should you tell the people the Gospels? So, yeah, I hope that's clear. Like, there's two streams going on, one vertical and one horizontal. I don't know if I think StreamYard is getting very negative feedback on this, so they may change it back to what it was. So there's that. But yes, evangelical Christianity, Brian, you can be an evangelical and still believe in child baptism. I'm sure that there's some faith that does it, but there's also evangelicals who think that it's not a thing. That's one of those doctrinal issues where you can find yourself as an evangelical on both sides of the fence. So it's a different argument. I think those that would support like child baptism would probably be more mainline denominations that have evangelical tendencies, and then others that are more fully fundamentalist probably wouldn't. So the vertical stream fits my head better. Yeah, probably. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I've been okay for a long, long time. I've been okay for a while. I've been much better since I left my faith too, by the way, Jesus for Life. I think you should try it. So, taking a mud bath. All right, there you go. Might be good for your pores, so some people say. I'm glad to see you, Tux. I'm always glad to see you. Your name from Dale. You were name dropped in a comment reply from Dale this morning. I was. Yeah, I've kind of gotten into this because the reason I got into this, Tux, is one of the criticisms of Paul is that he doesn't have a degree in the associated material. I do. Okay. And so I just started reviewing Paul's streams and saying, yeah, I can back that up with scholarship. That's all I really started this whole thing with. Like, I just backed up Paul's points when it came to Habermas's work. Like, I've had the open criticism of Habermas's 90% claim since I heard it. Okay, like, well, what's your data that backs that up? Like, are you just pulling that out of your ass, or are you backing that up? And so far, no. But yes, I'm sure I'm getting name dropped in this. And the reason why he gave up hope on me is I stood my ground. I'm like, no, until you give me the sources. I'm sorry. This is the reason why scholars cite their sources, is so they don't get accused of dishonesty. Okay, you can't just write your opinion in something or make a claim without backing it up in scholarship. And I stuck to that, and somehow I'm beyond hope, but Paul is still hopeful. Well, Paul isn't backing down either. Like, I love what he did today, because Habermas tried to switch gears and say, what's the sources cited? So what does Paul do? He goes back through, figures out all the sources cited, how many there are, and then does another pie chart, and it's worse. It was so funny when that happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 2% worse. So yeah, but yes, I've already answered that question. I can donate my blood to a lot of people as long as you have like B. So I know that the blood banks always want me, blood sucking vampires. I don't know. Find this Pythagorean shit boring. Me too. I don't know if we have a troublemaker or not. We'll see. I'm still rolling down through my comments trying to catch up. Yeah, there's two chats going on, so pick one, pick your lane. I don't know how long I. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, I remember you. Your name is very unique, so I remember you. Long time no see. Maybe God ate their homework. That's possible. It's way too noisy with both. Okay, there you go. We have a double empathy problem. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Blossom. I'm looking for feedback because the problem is here's the problem, Blossom, from my end. If I don't do both streams, my goals, like the goal in chat that I have on the horizontal stream, doesn't work. And I'm wondering if that's what it is. So my next stream on deconversion hangout on Thursday, I'm just going to do the horizontal again and see if that's what the issue is. Because if I suddenly don't have the ability to do my goals just on my horizontal stream, then I'm going to have a fit with StreamYard because they're kind of forcing me in order to get all the benefits out of YouTube that I'm supposed to get as a content creator. Then, yeah, I'm going to have to say, hey, man. Yeah, I thought that like it's not about being a Nazi, dude. Dude, it is about the fact that if you're a scholar, you cite your sources so people don't accuse you of plagiarism and other forms of dishonesty. That's why you give people's names. Okay. I still do not understand why this guy has a problem giving the names. I don't understand why Habermas has a problem giving the names, other than at that point, we'll be able to look at the names, look at their work, see what they have to say. And it's like he doesn't want to give credit to maybe a legitimate criticism. Like, I don't know. You can double my likes. Okay, well, that's fair. There's a positive. I think it's Christianity. Christianity has a vested interest in Jesus being real and being true and the resurrection being true. Like Paul says it in First Corinthians, if the resurrection didn't happen, we're wasting our time, basically is what Paul says. I'm paraphrasing, but like we've done all this stuff for nothing. And that's one of the biggest deconversion issues is like people don't want to give up their faith because they don't want to believe that they did all this stuff for nothing. So, yeah, I'm so unconnected with football this year. Habermas gave me a vibe that old saloon folky mind that brags about definitely has found a gold nugget in dimensions of his mule head whenever to bring it down from the mountain. Yes. Yes, he does this a lot. I get the analogy. Yeah, it kind of is. It's stuck there. Yeah, it's strange for archiving too. So I don't know. Being an atheist, trying to but the Lord called me home and revealed this. Now, well, Beowulf, you have no evidence for that other than your own experience, which I can't argue with because it's your experience. But I'm going to tell you there are other people that have experiences in Islam. There's other people that have the same experience in Hinduism. How do you differentiate between your experience and theirs? How is how is yours legit and theirs not legit? Okay, and I'm not really sure. What do you mean by you were an atheist? Because how did Christianity suddenly give you the evidence you're asking for as an atheist all of a sudden? Because I don't think that you're basically saying my personal experience. I don't think that works for me, and it hasn't. I grew up Pentecostal, I had plenty of personal experiences, and I now realize what all that is. Like it's all emotional, psychological manipulation. So I'm very well aware of that crap that happens in church because I used to do it. So JC, a recent comment that if you can't convince the other Abrahamic fakes of JC and me, how can you expect to convince an atheist? That's a valid point. So there you go. I have no idea. No. Paul's big claim, educational claim that he makes himself, is that he sat at the feet of Gamaliel, and Gamaliel is a well-known Jewish teacher. Okay, so the legit letters of Paul, I think, do make a mention of he sat at the feet of Gamaliel, and Gamaliel is in the Book of Acts too. Although, as I've always told people about the Book of Acts, it's a one-off. There's not even like another corroborating story in the New Testament for the Book of Acts, so it's like all of that. So yeah, and their isolation. I think this is what's happening, Stormburn, is the external criticism of other scholarly pursuits coming down on apologetics is troubling for them because they do live in this bubble where they think they've got all the answers. And when somebody else points out to apologetics people that there is no good answers, I don't know how that works. So type O negative, A negative. Okay. That's a very goofy bug. Well, here's the thing, Real Seeker. You're wrong. You're just dead wrong. I'm sorry. When I watch Paul's video, it's like you claim we don't have receipts. We just showed him again, like he in your interviews with him. This is not a concession of any kind of defeat here. But my issue with you is you accused me of engaging in some psychological trick when I'm just doing what scholars do. Well, who's your sources? And you still haven't given me any. Okay, not the ones I was asking for. And so I think my problem with you, Real Seeker, is it's demonstrated to me that you're just here because you like to accuse me of stuff, but you don't even know me enough to make those accusations. There's no concession in Paul's video. He's actually was glad. I mean, if that's the way you're listening to Paul's video, you are absolutely reading it wrong. Okay, sorry. Those scholars you gave me are not critics of Volume 3, which is what we were asking for. They're critics of Habermas's method, which is legitimate criticism. You don't have the 90% proven. Show the data, give me the methodology. That's good methodology. Okay, what Paul did, you're basically admitting that you won't give names because some reason. And now you're just like, I'm not going to give you those names. I'm going to tease you with them or whatever. And I just find the way you do things to just be slimy. Sorry, I just find it slimy. So, and you should question Habermas on that claim because that just tells me, okay, Habermas, what's your problem? Because as long as you don't give the names of who the critics are, you're basically opening yourself up to what I said. There's all sorts of kind of dishonest accusations that can come from academia. Are you being honest about that? Do you actually have those sources? What are those sources? Is a legit, obvious question. I'm sorry, Real Seeker. Maybe you kept your word and that's important to you, but I'm sorry. Habermas then invites that criticism on him. Maybe you dodge it, but he doesn't. Okay. So I'm not trying to be a jerk, Real Seeker, but give me the names. Okay. I think that the only reason you say you don't have hope for me is because I stood my ground on this issue because I am a scholar. Okay. I have a master's degree from a seminary. Okay. And that's a legit, fully accredited thing I did. And I busted my ass for it in 1996, got it done. And now I sit here and I say, yeah, Paul's right. Okay. This criticism is not going to go away, Real Seeker, until Habermas ponies up, has some guts, develops some courage, and does the work to create his data. Until he creates his data, it's still an open thing. He has no proof of the 90%. It's up to you, man. But here's the thing. You still have to answer the objections that Paul and I are putting forward. Okay, it got worse for Habermas when we do the quote thing. So now we got to go to this. And I'm sorry, scholarly intuition isn't acknowledged by scholars as a legitimate research method, and that's what you got. Yeah, it's no preaching by anyone. So it's because you're sitting there making a claim about certain scholars, citing sources. I do it all the time. Like I'm citing you right now. Okay, I'm telling you my criticism is coming from real seekers. I don't have any fear of that. I have to continue to ask, what is Habermas afraid of? What is he afraid of? Okay, like, I'm sorry, it's not an academic paper, but it's still something you're saying criticism is coming from certain sources. And so, what are those sources? It's a legitimate, honest, simple question to ask. And the fact that Habermas doesn't want names mentioned, I have to ask why. It's not that hard. It doesn't really matter if it's academic or not. What are the names? Who is giving that criticism? I am still baffled that this is even an issue. Okay. Because you seem to think, oh, it's an odd thing to ask for. No, it's not an odd thing to ask for. If you're going to say that people are being critical, who are those people? That's just basic conversation. That's basic, honest acknowledgement. Okay. I want to know what you're afraid of. What are you afraid of by giving those names? What is Habermas afraid of? Well, I'm being a good host. I'm like, well, then I would say, man, dude, that's fine. But then you need to go to Habermas and say, what is he afraid of? Okay. Okay. They're not acknowledging each other. That's fine. Naming and streams is just wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's not reverse psychology. It's just honest courtesy. Like, if you're going to say who you have critics, who are those critics? This isn't a psychological trick. It's an honest inquiry. If I was a reporter and you said that, like, well, we're receiving criticisms from certain people, and the reporter asks, well, who? That's not a psychological trick. It's not reverse psychology. Quit accusing me of this. It's ad hominem towards me, and you need to drop it. Okay, that's not my motivation at all. I want to know where the criticism is coming from, and I think a lot of inquiring minds would like to know. Okay, so yeah, they're not critical. That's a flat out lie. Yeah, I didn't want to deal with it, Eric. Thanks for looking it up for me. But it's not reverse psychology. You're accusing me of something I'm not doing. And I find that very upsetting to me because it's dishonest of you to do so. Okay, my problem with you at this point is you don't seem to see the basic thing. If you're going to make a claim about something that these people are criticizing, that's your claim, you need to back up that claim and tell me who the names are. And Habermas needs to do the same. Okay, because he can't just dwell in this nebulous realm anymore. Okay, like he's being criticized by Christians. It's not just me and Paul. You've got Christians criticizing Volume 3. You got Christians criticizing his methodology. You got people all over the spectrum now criticizing his methodology, and he needs to pony up and view the data. Okay, he needs to go through his sources. He needs to go through all his stuff. He needs to start listing out who they are, where they are, what they are, and provide that data. So when he says 90% of scholarly consensus, he actually has numbers to back up that number. Right now, he doesn't. And that's been my whole point since the beginning. That's not unscholarly tit for tats. If you're citing scholars, then it's a scholarly versus scholar tit for tat, if you want to put it that way. Like if you're saying scholars are being critical, then that's not going to be an unscholarly thing. That doesn't even make any sense, Real Seeker. It's still, you're still avoiding the question. And you're not making apologists look good, by the way. Yeah, so I'm with you there. Okay. No, I consider you slimy because you automatically assume something, and then you your last conversation with Stormburn was like, oh yeah, those real sources are up my, where the sun don't shine. So did you really have them or not? Now you've actually opened that up yourself by what you said. Okay, like I'm having a problem with you because you don't seem to want to see the fact that from an academic point of view, your good friend Habermas has an academic problem. Okay, with not just me, but a lot of academic people have a problem with what he's been doing for I don't know how long, at least a decade. Okay, the minimal facts theory has been around for a while, and he still hasn't provided the data for one of his claims. You got to provide that data or you're not being a very good academic yourself. But yes, you're kind of slimy to me because I think you came in with an automatic moral assumption about me simply because I'm an atheist, which is a slimy, prejudicial thing to do. Okay, I don't assume things about believers because I used to be one. I was a believer for a long time. I don't assume believers are bad people. I just think that they're misguided. Okay, but you come in and accuse me of a psychological critic just because I asked for names of who the critics are. That's not a reverse psychology thing. It's just honest inquiry. Any reporter would do that, and that's honest inquiry. If you're going to say somebody's being critical, you give the names of who's being critical. This isn't hard. Okay. Yes, I know. It sounds like Trump's. I know a guy. Yes, it does. I know a guy that was being critical. He and I and Paul Agia, like I'm in Paul Agia's video today, and so is Real Seeker. So he's come here to be interesting, I guess. Knowing I do a stream every Monday, but my interest in this is purely like academic. Like I've been baffled by Habermas for years, not providing proof for his 90% of scholarly consensus claim. Like Paul Agia acknowledges that book one of his magnum opus, it might do the first part, which is, the whole, this is attested to in multiple sources kind of thing. I have my other problems with minimal facts, but he has never offered the data for the claim. Okay. He has never offered the data for the 90% claim ever, as far as I know. If he did, I would make note of it. So I would go find it. Somebody could point it out to me and I would do it. I don't know if he's ever acknowledged that, but they were never talking about that. So Alter and Slade, and Paul in his video pointed that out, like Alter and Slade were talking way ahead of volume 3. So that didn't help either. Me and Paul had that conversation via email. Like we talked about, does this actually be a criticism of volume 3? And the answer is no. Okay. So, I'm sorry, you're not making yourself look good when you give me sources that aren't even related to what I was asking for either. So that's kind of slimy on their part, because if you're going to sit there and accuse me of a psychological trick, you better have proof of that, because all I'm asking for is sources. Okay. It's an academic criticism. So give me the academics. Okay. So they're both on my channel. They're both there. Just go to my channel and they should be running. I think this is confusing. So I'm going to try to see what happens when I just do the horizontal again, because I think this is one of the criticisms that StreamYard is getting, is like it's double. Yeah, you're not hitting the mark. He's not. Okay. And I want to make that abundant clear. Real Seeker hasn't hit the mark with me on this one, because it's like he accused me of engaging of a psychological trick, like within a couple of comments of talking to each other. And all I'm saying is, listen, dude, if Habermas is going to make the claim that these scholars are criticizing him and they have a certain level of education or whatever, you need to provide the receipts, okay, of giving me the names. Like citing sources is a normal thing in most of academic work. And I just don't understand why Real Seeker and Habermas have a problem citing their sources, other than, as Stormburn has pointed out a couple of times, the real issue is it is Paul Agia, and it gets under his skin that this YouTuber has pointed out some obvious problems with Habermas's stuff, and he doesn't have academic creds, but it's legit criticism. So, if Real Seeker is seeing it some way, like he's seeing it wrong. Like today's video was a continued, sorry, Mr. Habermas, you're not giving me the evidence I'm looking for, and you still don't understand the objection. And based on Real Seeker's comments today, he doesn't really understand the objection either. Okay, the objection continues to remain, what's your data? What's your methodology? What's this? And Habermas still continues to be vague about it. And that's my problem with it. As somebody who's done theological work and research work to get my degree, yeah. So there's that. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of going around. It's people, and this is the problem. He doesn't see, like, if you want to give your live streams and your interviews more credibility, cite your sources. Like yeah, I get it's a live stream and I'm asking for sources, but that's how you build credibility, is give your sources. I don't know what's going on here. So critics of volume just is a lie. It's a lie. It's not even, you're right, Stormer, because this has been the lie that Real Seeker said, because he said, yeah, these are the sources we were talking about. No, they can't be. Okay, so there's a phone size box and a horizontal box. So there's two streams going on technically at the same time. That's what StreamYard's new feature is, and I'm testing it. Skeptic, I'm not sure I like it, because the only reason I'm doing is that now I can do my goals again in the chat. So, I kind of depend on financial support from various people, and I keep those goals open and sort of do that. Well, when I was just running the horizontal without this new feature, I wasn't getting the options that I wanted for my goals. So, yeah. So, well, yeah, but you got to understand, I'm trying to be very patient with Real Seekers because I used to be Real Seekers. Okay. Like, when you've been a former Christian, I know the game, and I try to be an apologist, and I know that game too. And so I'm trying to be very patient because I realize how easy it is to get indoctrinated by this stuff, because it's very convincing if you want to be convinced. Okay. And once you become a skeptic, it becomes harder and harder for people to convince you of stuff, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. My problem with Real Seeker has been since the beginning, like, why is the names of the scholars that are critical of Habermas's third volume, why is such a secret? Why does it have to be this nebulous, nameless others? Why does it have to be that? It's been that way since the beginning. It's like, why does Habermas seem to think that it's a good idea to keep these names a secret? Well, I don't want to engage in any scholarly tit for tat. It's like, what are you afraid of the tit for tat? Like, what are you afraid of? It doesn't show a lot of courage to me. I won't say they're cowards, but I will say this. It doesn't show a lot of courage when you won't name names. Okay. If I have critics, I usually name the names. I'll name one. Real Seeker's a critic of mine. Okay. I don't have a problem. You'll probably see him and stuff, but it's like, I don't have an issue so much with Real Seeker, though. I have an issue with Habermas being secretive about names. Like, I have an issue with that, because as somebody who's done scholarly work, who has a research degree, okay, in theological studies, MA, which is a PhD prep, I never have utilized that aspect of it, but somebody who has that degree, I know what good research is, and I know the value of citing your sources, even in a podcast or anything. Like, if I use a video in one of my other videos, I put that down in the description. Okay, I cite that I took it from there. This is basic academia of citing your sources and letting people know where you got your information, where you're getting your criticism. This isn't a psychological trick. This is the way you work if you want to build integrity. Okay. And I just don't see any integrity in Real Seeker at this point, or Habermas. So be aware of the made themselves known. Yeah. I mean, I think, Storman, you make a valid point. If there were three people that were talking to Habermas and this was an engagement, I think they would have made themselves known by now. Okay. Like, they would have said, yeah, I'm one of the guys that Habermas is talking about. Okay. So yeah, He's about as good as any apologist. Without discussing the names and data, Habermas gives the impression of being a liar. Yes, that's what he does. That's what I've been trying to tell Real Seeker. You're giving the impression that you're a liar. I won't call you a liar. Okay. I simply say that that's one of the options. You're either misrepresenting something or mistaken, misinformed. That's a possibility, but you got to demonstrate in this one how you're misinformed. But it gives the impression that Habermas is lying. It gives the impression that he's not being honest. Okay. If you want integrity and you want somebody to respect your opinion, you got to be honest about who your critics are. And yeah, I don't see it. The difference between scholarship and apologetic argument from authority. Where am I lying? I still want to know how I'm lying. I'm just asking for names. I'm not making a claim. I'm just asking for names. Okay, so you've devolved into ad hominem on me, which means you don't have an argument now. Like when somebody starts getting personal like this, I know you don't have an argument, because if you had an argument, you'd give it. If you had evidence, you'd give it. Instead, you just got to accuse me of stuff. Okay, I'm just saying that Habermas looks like he's being secretive and being a liar. He doesn't really have names, and so he's just using nameless others. Habermas is the problem. Okay, you empowering him and enabling him isn't really all that good either. Okay, that makes you look bad too. But I'm sorry, Real Seekers, your dishonesty has already been documented. Okay, like you basically have admitted to me in the last conversation I had that I clipped, and I did some screenshots of that I saw. Yeah, it's a problem. So there's that. But I'm sorry. If you're going to build credibility, Real Seeker, you got to give names. Who's your critics? If you're going to make a claim that there are critics, then who are the critics? It's basic honesty. Okay. And I'm sorry, but I just don't see it from you. Okay. I don't see it from you, because I don't see it from Habermas. Like, if you have critics, give me the names. I think Stormman makes a valid point. If there were such critics, they would have named themselves by now. So I think that's the issue. So yeah, he's been timed out. So I don't time out people. My mods do all that work, and probably Martin or Azzo got tired. So got to be nice. Let's see. Habermas arguing for the resurrection by equivocating between historians and apologists in his dissertation 49 years ago, and he's still doing it. Okay, so he thinks apologists are historians and they're equivocating. Okay, I can see that. Okay, there you go. Well, that's good. If you're going to be a good Christian, you might want to work on that honesty part. So, and you might want to talk to Habermas about that. Read the Bible as another thread right before he timed out again. That's not the thing atheists are known for, but yeah, I don't really accuse that of that. But no. Yeah, it wasn't a concession. It just wasn't. I'm sorry if that's what you think it is. It's not. I mean, I'm sure your confirmation bias wants it to be that, but it's not. When I watched it, I'm like, oh, this is more war. Okay, this is not a concession at all. You should be called out and misrepresenting their position, and they could respond. Wouldn't that be terrible? That's the issue, because this is why I've been asking for the names. Okay, it's not a psychological trick. It's like, I want to know who the names are, what their position is, what they wrote, what they said that was critical, because then you won't be misrepresenting them. I won't be misrepresenting them. I can have them speak for themselves. That's why I want the names. It's not a psychological trick. It's not it's like, I don't know. I get a little bit upset with this, because I am, somebody who's done this kind of research. And I had to, like when I did my master's degree on First Timothy, I had to deal with several criticisms of First Timothy, most notably that Paul may not have wrote it. And I was a conservative evangelical back then, so I had to put in who those people were, what their names were, and everything else. And I would have done that anyway because it's honest. Okay, I don't understand why this is a problem unless there isn't a name or if the names aren't being misrepresented. Okay, like to me, I don't think it has anything to do with tit for tat anymore. Okay, so hey, Earl. Oh yeah, I am using my serious voice because I'm dealing with somebody. Uh, uh, Nonsense is nonsense, but the history nonsense is interesting. Okay. Oh. Yeah, you're kind of a guest here. What do I need a justification for? You're the one that makes a claim that God exists. You need the justification and proof of that. You don't have any justification that Zeus doesn't exist, do you? Do you have any justification that, Apollo, Thor, all those gods don't exist? Do you have a justification for that? Do you need one? You don't need a justification to not believe in something. You just have to say that you're not convinced. I don't have something to say there because you are an atheist probably with every other religion there is. Okay, I'm just pointing that out. Like you're probably an atheist about a lot of other gods. Do you need justification for that? No. I would say no. It's the people that believe in those gods that need to prove it. And so do you. Thanks, Martin. That's one. And Stormburn, that's two. Okay, there you go. But yeah. What justification do I have for the StreamYard setting? I don't know yet. I'm going to try it the way I normally do it. This is the first time I've done the double, and I don't like it, to be fair. I'm probably going to leave a comment with StreamYard that they need to not mess with my goals when I'm just doing horizontal, because that's probably where I'm going to go forward. I mean, it has been nice today to have the vertical there so I can see where I am in the picture, but I kind of knew where that was anyway, stay in the middle. And it does do different things. Here, let me upload an image I uploaded for today. And you can see the difference. Like if you're on the vertical and I go to press mode, you can see I'm down at the bottom and the comments are at the top. Whereas if you're on the horizontal, it's a little bit different. So yeah. Yeah, thank you, Cranky. Appreciate what justification. Yeah. The like button is very consensual. So you're all good. So yes, you have to, that's not how it works. You have to give me justification on why you believe a certain thing. Like, why do you believe in Christianity and not Hinduism? What is wrong about Hinduism that you don't agree with it? Like, if we're going to play this game of what justification I have as being an atheist, it's the same justification that you have in not believing in Zeus or Thor. Okay. Like, I don't believe in Yahweh and Jesus being God for the same reasons that you don't believe Thor gives lightning and Zeus throws thunderbolts too. I gave two lightning gods on there on purpose. So, but yes, I'm like, I have a problem with people who make claims and then want me to justify my non-belief in their claim. Like if you make the claim that there's magically delicious leprechauns infesting the forest, and I say, well, can you show me one? Well, no, I don't have any evidence for it. I know they exist. That's not good. Okay. It just isn't good. Okay. You're an atheist about every other God in existence except the one you believe in. Okay. And when people ask me what it's like to be in it, it's just like that. How you don't believe in Zeus, you don't believe in Thor, you don't believe in, Vishnu, how you don't believe in those things. Yeah. It's just like that. Only with yours. Okay. So. And Chris won grounding. Okay. There you go. A belief is to justify my atheist. There you go. That's a good one. There we go. But yes. Yeah, but I'm sorry. I've had this long argument here today with real seekers, and it basically boils down to this: I don't know what you're afraid of. I still don't know what you're afraid of, other than if you gave names and gave sources, then I would be able to look them up, and then I'd be able to see if legit they are criticizing you and what way they're criticizing you, and you don't want me to have access to that information, and so you and Habermas are denying me that information. Okay, I'm not. You get rid of the accusation of that you're lying. For us that are atheists, we just simply look at you when you ask us for this epistemological proof, and we're like, of my atheism, I'm like, I don't need that any more than you need evidence to not believe in Thor. Okay, why do I suddenly have to have evidence to not believe in your God when you don't have evidence that not believes in a whole bunch of other gods? So what are you? Have you justified your non-belief in Zeus? Have you justified your non-belief in Thor? Because if you haven't, then you're asking me a dishonest question because you haven't done it. So why should I answer that? So yeah, I don't have, I used to be a believer for a long time. Okay. I was a pastor for 20 years. Okay. I made my living off of this. Okay. And this is why a lot of people really don't like me. A lot of Christians really do not like me. Okay, I'm going to be blunt. They really don't, because they don't understand how somebody who could be so deep into it could also give it up. Well, that's because I started studying it. And when I realized that apologetics has so many faults and so many epistemological problems, okay, like I don't understand how that's a thing. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Yes. Your spirit animal and goldfish. Yes. Earl's really good at that. I love Earl's art. That's why it's on the screen right now. This is the Unholy Trinity Star Wars edition. So, so there you go. But yes. Yeah. That happens in a lot of scholarship. The problem with it, Rimmer, in theological and scholastic scholarships. So yeah, I live on a lot of support here. Exploded. I People like me. They keep me fed and clothed. So, but yes, Ron and several others have been supporting this channel for years. My members are usually like, I don't give like a cheap membership. I don't have a 99 center. I have a $2 one. And the reason I do that is I get more money out of it long term with less members. So I've been honest about that with this channel. I'm here to make you think. I'm here to entertain you when I can. And I'm also doing this because I need an alternative to pastoring. Because when you leave the ministry, you haven't got a lot of options. The Clergy Project has been great for me and all that stuff. But man, oh man, like, you can't grift anymore. You have to like actually put something up. So you believe in fangs and FSM and toadies, the God-eating penguin. But I believe in the satire because satire is a trait they value. And if you have satire, you can know them. So there's that. I appreciate all the love stuff. Yeah. But this battle between Real Seeker and me and everybody else has been going on for a while. And all I did to start this battle was ask for some names. It's still what I'm doing. I'm still waiting for the PhD scholars that were critical of Habermas's third volume. I'm still waiting for who these scholars are. I'm waiting for Habermas to actually produce his data that proves his 90% claim. The irony there is that Alter and Slade in their paper and Paulogia on his channel have produced more data about Habermas's sources than Habermas has. That's, yeah, I think I'm going to be waiting for a long time. Okay, because I think Habermas knows he's cornered on this one. Because if he actually gives the data, then it can be criticized. And he doesn't want that. He just wants people to accept what he's saying and be good with it. So, but yes. Satire is the substance of things. 04. I can buy that. I really can. They really can. Oh, let's see. The only time I saw something happening, data not being disclosed, was an ongoing archaeological study projected from people swooping in and getting in the site first. I don't know what his justification is. I don't. The only justification, like we just got from Real Seekers, he doesn't want a scholarly tit for tat. And it's like scholarship has tit for tat for a reason. It's the reason why scientists will take their data and give it to another scientist to test and then openly expect publication from that data. This is why apologetics is so dishonest, is they don't seem to want accountability for what they say. And Habermas, I think, falls into that ground. He doesn't want accountability for what he says and his claims. And when somebody gives him some accountability and shows him that his data might be wrong, he clams up. He doesn't want to fight anymore. So I don't know. I'm tired of it. So yeah, it's like there's an exception of authority because he's a PhD without proof. And I'm sorry, PhD doesn't prove a damn thing. Okay. It's the data that backs up the PhD that proves something. And Habermas has no data about the 90% claim, but critics do. Like Alter and Slade's paper, if you read it, it's a breakdown of like all the books written on the resurrection for the last 500 years. Guess what? The majority have been written by Christians. Imagine our surprise, mostly by pastors and scholars in Christian academia. Wow. Okay, so the chances of you getting a non-Christian on this subject are going to be slim. Not completely zero, but there's like 10% of people writing on the resurrection that aren't Christians. So, and then you look at Paul's data, he's just doing a simple surveys. Both times he's shown that the majority of citations, the majority of people writing that has been cited in volume 3 are Christians. Oh, they're not evangelicals. Well, evangelical, 1/3 evangelical, well, that's kind of a stretch too, based on the data too. So it's like, we'll give him that one, but it's like, that's not what you said. And I think that's the problem. So it's an authority issue. We're expected to accept Habermas's authority without accepting his scholastic work and the fact that he deals with the actual academic criticism effectively. The fact that he doesn't want a tit for tat tells me that he knows he's on shaky ground, or he feels that way. And if he really felt that he was on solid ground, he wouldn't have a problem with answering scholarly criticism and telling us who the scholars were. It's becoming lacking in courage. I'll just put it that way. I really think that apologetics has lived in this realm of before the internet for so long. They still think that they can work that way. But the internet is ruthless. Okay. So yeah, I think he is the most expert on Habermas. And he said it today and I laughed. He says, I've listened to Habermas more than anybody should. As soon as he said that, I laughed out loud. I said, yeah, probably. So they have to be right off the bat in the first place to begin with. They have to be right. Okay, but right about what? Everything, of course. We must start with a conclusion. And yeah, they work backwards. Old Teen Mountain Barley. Yeah. Oh, we're doing fine, Martin. Martin, I appreciate it when you're here, man. A lot of us laugh about how quick at the draw you are sometimes with a band hammer, but I appreciate that sometimes. My mods are very protective of me because my autistic self likes to trust people far too long. So I still have that problem. So yeah, well, Ron, I'm always happy to educate. I think that's why people give to this channel and they keep it going. Like I come out here and I just talk to people. I probably could have had a real good conversation with Real Seeker even today if he would just drop the psychological trick I was supposedly trying to pull on him just for asking for names. Like, drop the ad hominem, drop accusing me of being lying. I'm telling you, you're developing the accusation of being a liar by not giving your sources. So, yes. You have no idea what I'm talking about. See you later, Martin. I appreciate you though, man. I really do. Pop call to the Christian reference. Oh yes, Ovaltine. Yes, Ovaltine. I see the Ovaltine in the chat, people. I do. But yes, I've had pushback before by a lot of people. Earl says that my way of dealing with stuff sometimes is my superpower. So like I can turn a hostile situation into a non-hostile one. It's mostly because I just keep my cool. So yeah, I'll hold on after the stream. I'll drop that down there. Actually, hold on. I can go to the history. And here, let me pull this up. I'm still muted, so you won't hear it. I can drop that into chat. And I can also pin it to the top. So in the horizontal one, the link to Paul's video is up at the top, pinned in the chat. So if you want to know what we're talking about and look at it for yourself, it's about an hour long. It's a good watch, though. So there you go. Give me more credit than you give yourself. What? Yes. But yeah, I there you go. But yeah, folks, I'm going to call it a day. I did want to address one thing. My last stream I cut out early. I don't necessarily want to apologize for that because I had a good reason, but I had a sharp pain in my side that turned into cramps up and down my right side. So there you go. There you go. But yeah, it made me smile for 1 hour with giggles attached because Paul has that very subtle sarcasm in his voice. So, but yes, telling you guys live now so Ed can't tell me no. What are you going to say? But yes, I developed that pain, and then it was very painful. I thought about crying. So I had to cut out of that last stream fairly early. Earl was very motherly. You're doing a tiny fundraiser for a Christmas present for me. Oh, Earl. Okay, I'll allow it. I hate Christmas presents. You got to understand, I work in retail, so Christmas is kind of one of those hate things for me. So, all right, I'll even throw the link up there. It's in there. So, but thank you, Earl. I appreciate you. I don't know what to get you though, so I'm horrible at giving gifts. My gifts giving is usually really, really good according to people who receive gifts from me, but sometimes years go by before you'll get a gift from me because I just don't know what to get. So there you go. Oh, you need more stylists? Can I buy you a box of styluses? Can I do that? Would that be fair? All right, I'll think about that one. Yeah, because you do a lot of art for me. I should probably like supply you with supplies to do art. But yes, I won't go there. I won't go there. Yeah, I did a lot after the stream. I did some muscle stretching. I took some painkillers. Me and Earl went over my symptoms, and she was being very motherly. So Earl watches out for me like a good friend. So I appreciate that. I want to let her know that I appreciate that publicly. Thank you, Earl. But yeah, it wasn't scary. It was just very, very painful. Got up, stretched, took a nap. I feel fine today. So I'm hoping it's like a one-time thing that happened, and I don't want to feel that way anymore because it was not a fun time. So just the nibs, the nylon tips. Yeah. All right. Okay. There we go. Nerve shocks. Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't like that. It was just cramping, like my muscle cramps. I get muscle cramps in my calves all the time. because of all the work in retail. Because you use your calves to reach the top shelves all the time, and my calves are inordinately large. I think I measured them once, and they're like 23 inches around at the widest point. My sons are worse, so he's like got 25-inch calves. So it's like, my calves are bigger than most people's biceps. I drink a lot of water. I don't eat bananas because bananas have some negative aspects for people my age. So stop wearing high heels. Yeah, I really should. Let's start a rumor, John. Rabyd Atheist. He's not only doing Donald Duck when he's on stream, but he's also wearing high heels at the same time. There you go. When I'm getting it, send me an email to Demon on Discord, and I'll show you. Oh, okay. All right. What do I think of Frank Turek's debates with Christopher Hitchens? I think Christopher Hitchens mopped the floor with him, and I thought that as a theist when I was still believing. I think Turek's problem is he has a certain mindset and talking points, and he doesn't seem to be able to engage what Christopher Hitchens actually said to him. But where does evil come from? I think that's one of my favorite moments in those debates. Where does evil come from? Religion. So, yeah, I've actually, when I was working out in the gym, I had bodybuilders come up. How did you do your calves? I'm like, I wish I could say, but it's a family trait. Like, they're like, how the fuck do you get them so big? I'm like, they're already big. So, yes, I thought that Christopher Hitchens killed Turek as a Christian. I said, this is embarrassing. It's like watching some of the modern debates, like have happened on Jubilee with Jordan Peterson and several others. Like, it's sad to watch. The late Charlie Kirk against the Cambridge students is another one. I don't know. Oh, I'm a Stoic, so the Stoic philosophers tend to grab my attention. So there's that. So there you go. Seem to enjoy speaking to the audience more than speaking to Hitchens. Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, you get to that point. Yeah, that's real seeker. He's the one that brought up that word. I'm just repeating him. I'm just quoting him. So I call him little Frankie. He's cute. He's so cute trying to be smart. Okay. But yes, whenever I watch those debates, it's like Frank doesn't seem to have, even when I was a Christian and a theist, I'm like, Frank, you're not addressing the issue at hand. What evidence do you have for Jesus Christ? It's like, yeah. So there's that. Yeah, I've gone over that. One of my problems is my chair. It keeps sliding down, and so I've finally given up trying to put it back up. And I think that's making my mouse angle a little off, and so I think it's my shoulder too. But it's also possible that some of the things that Earl has told me is also possible. So I'm monitoring a bunch of things right now. So. Yeah, I think he just wanted to preach, and that kind of came off in a lot of those debates. Like, that's my problem with Frank Turek most of the time when he gets in a discussion with somebody. He wants to preach his talking points, and he doesn't know how to address what the other person's saying. So, I'm telling you, folks used to acknowledge their calves much more commonly. Calves were everything. Well, yeah, I mean, I think where that came from is like it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. Like, when Arnold Schwarzenegger was about halfway through his bodybuilding career, one of his criticisms against him was his calves. Like, his calves weren't big enough. So, um, yeah, I'm not in pain right now. No, I was my last stream though. Like, the last 5 minutes is like a sharp thing, but I'm okay now. I am double streaming with the vertical and the horizontal skeptic that StreamYard gives me. Both me and Dave from Captive Deaths have complained about this. So, but yeah, I'm doing a double. It's the same stream. It's just if you're on your phone, you can go to the horizontal stream and it's supposed to look better. And when you come to the vertical or if you're on your phone, you're doing the vertical, and then horizontal is everything else. So yeah, it's a StreamYard feature. I'm trying it out. I don't know if I like it. Why would I ask Jesus for help? If I was going to get help for pain, I'd go to a doctor. They actually have some knowledge that might actually help. So, I mean, testable, repeatable results, that sort of thing. I don't know if I have any formidable theist debaters anymore. There's some good ones, I suppose, out there that are like respectful and good credibility. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got to watch it. You did some new art. Did you? All right. I'll be waiting to see it. Waiting to see it. What's the name of the doctor is Jesus? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I tend to rely on medical advice from people that have actually studied the human body. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just wrong about that, but yeah. Watch out for that skeptic. Like there's like if you're on your phone, you can get on my vertical stream and it supposedly shows up better. And if you're on your computer or your tablet, you can go to the horizontal one. It's a StreamYard feature, and I'm not sure I like it because all the vertical does really is it makes it so like when I'm putting the picture up like I am now, it's centered. Okay. Whereas if I was just doing a horizontal if you're watching on your phone, you wouldn't be able to see it without scrolling back and forth. So, oh, you sent me some art. Okay. Well, I will always stop and I'm going to call this one. We'll call it, there we go. I'll keep that to myself. All right, let's pull this image up. See, and Earl wants to show off her art, and I'm going to be gladly let her do that. All right, here, let's change out the artwork. There we go. You'll lighten someone's darkness. Oh, you're sending me from the fluffle. I'm going to feel warm and fuzzy, ain't I? Here, let me put this on so that it's as big as it possibly can be. There you go. Real swim shady. Oh, Earl. Eat you, please don't eat me. There we go. Be the light in somebody's darkness. All squishy and shit. Yeah, you're gonna make me feel all squishy and shit and everything, aren't you guys? Oh my god. This is good stuff though, Earl. I love it. I love it. Dying in Spain. Yeah, if the chat was shared, I wouldn't mind it so much. You bring up the most valid point I have because I love my chat and I love the fact that all of you are together in the chat. Right now, you're split. Like there's two, I want to discuss this a little bit before I sign off because it's not a question of us being against God. We don't believe God exists, and you have to prove that a God exists. Um, I don't know how else to respond to that other than to tell you, dude, that you got to provide evidence, probably for yourself, first of all, that's testable, repeatable, that God even exists, and it doesn't exist. Okay, so I'm not against God. I don't believe in him. It's hard to be against somebody you don't believe in. Okay, it's like being against the Easter Bunny or against Santa Claus. Like it's not a question of what insults. I insult the concept of God all the time. When I do theology, I used to be a theologian. I did theology. And if I'm making a theological observation about God, that's not an insult. That's an observation about God. If it happens to be insulting because it's not what you do, then I don't know what else to do. But no, I'm not insulting God. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in Satan. I don't believe in any of that stuff. The accusations that you theists give against us atheists don't even make sense half the time because you don't consider what it is to be an atheist. So the real Sim City trees drive up. Switch. I don't know. I think that's the biggest thing though that I have against this system is the double chat. So I mean I can get it. Like back in, like when I put myself back in, there I am, in different places depending on what stream you're watching. So why don't I believe? The evidence is unconvincing to believe. Give me convinced. You're getting it backwards. You do not have. I am sure there are many gods that you have been proposed that you don't believe in. So why don't you believe in them? I could give that back to you. Okay. The God. I mean, if you're talking about the God of the Bible, he's inconsistent. Okay, like he openly makes contradictory statements about himself. He's unjust. He's an ass. Okay, as a character. I mean, I can hate him like I hate Voldemort, and it's like you're failing to understand that the issue is evidence. Okay, for almost every atheist, that you just don't have the evidence to believe. So it's not a question of why would I give a best example of why I don't believe. I can give you all the apologists in the world, and the fact that they have unconvinced a whole bunch of people of what they're saying kind of is good evidence, I guess, but that's not the issue. Why would I give you an example of why I don't believe other than the evidence doesn't convince me? It used to, but it doesn't anymore. Example of what exactly? That's my question. What example of what? I don't believe in Thor either. I don't believe in Zeus. I don't believe in Vishnu. Do I need to give you examples of why I don't believe in them? And if you don't believe in them, what is your example of them? It's a silly question. Okay. It really is. Because the issue for the person who's making a claim is give me your burden of proof. Okay. Give me your burden of proof. Like you have the burden of proof. Prove to me your God exists. Okay. And right now I'm unconvinced. Yeah. I mean, what's your best empirical evidence for a deity? Thor is real. You saw him in a movie. I'm not trying to care about convincing others. The only thing I really convince people is to give up religion. It hasn't done us any favors in the long run. It's an old, antiquated idea. It no longer works most of the time. It's based on claims for which there are no evidence. My example is simply there is no, it doesn't make sense as a question, okay, because you don't have examples of why you don't believe in other deities, and you think that's okay. So why should I have to give them? Okay, like my whole issue is give me the evidence of God's existence, and I'll probably believe. But you got to convince me of God. But do I like hospitals? No. Why do I? My mom used to work in a hospital. I've been in hospitals. I don't like hospitals. No. But that don't. Yeah, why don't you believe in soothsayers? Why don't you believe in Vishnu? I could go on and on like this all day. I don't have to give a reason why I don't believe it other than the evidence is unconvincing to me. So atheism isn't a conviction. It's also not about convincing others. You can get to atheism by being skeptical. I don't really try to convince people. I just tell people to be skeptical of their faith. And everybody is. Like if you're a Baptist, you're skeptical of Pentecostals and Catholics. Like everybody's skeptical of a lot of other people's faiths. So I don't understand. Earl, I think if you want to challenge yourself every time I stream, just if you want the dumbest thing you're going to hear, yeah, I just don't. I'm sorry, the question doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm fairly certain that every Christian is probably a Muhammad non-believer. You don't believe in certain things because you don't find them convincing. Okay. And that's true of everything you don't believe in. And that's the way. Yeah, I mean, why hospitals when prayer could be sufficient? Why haven't you prayer people cleared out the hospitals? Why haven't you been like Jesus? I'm still waiting for that one, but yes. So be the light in somebody's darkness. Earl. All right, folks, I'm 1 hour and 20 minutes in the stream. I do have to get ready and go to work. My work schedule this week is a little different. That's why Saturday's stream will be a little earlier, because I have to work on Saturday. But to make up for the Wednesday, they're going to give me off later that week. So there you go. But thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate it. There's some good stuff in here. I'll probably have to link this to Paul, because, Real Seeker had to show up and be a pain, but not say anything I haven't already heard. But thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all the donations. Didn't quite reach a goal today, but thanks, Martin, Stormburn, Cranky, and Ron. All of you guys are awesome. Appreciate your donations. Keeps the streams alive. I present that. And I got to put this up because Earl will be mad at me if I don't. So there you go. Well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. I'll be around on Thursday for Deconversion Hangout. I'll see all of you then. Hopefully, I'm going to be working on a video the next couple of days. So some of you may see that Wednesday, maybe not. I don't know. I'm having trouble with motivation. So I'm trying to get over my hump here, and hopefully we'll have some new stuff here shortly. But thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate all of you. I don't know if I'll do the dual stream again ever. I'm going to have to write StreamYard about it, but there we go. But thanks, everybody. May fangs nibble on all of your hearts. May you draw yourself closer to you. Keep your vegetables pure of religious corruption. Make sure you leave an offering of a circumcised carrot on top of your stash to fangs, because he'll take the carrot instead of your stash. That's dogma, by the way. And nom nom and all of that. I appreciate all of you stopping by, getting there. And as always, live your best life. You only get one go around, and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, money, and opportunities and give them to yourself, the people you love and care for, and to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you all again on Thursday. I'll see you then.